Hi, I'm John Allen Nelson. You noticed how everybody has their own ideal vision of paradise? To one person, it's a tropical island. To another, it's spring in Paris or skiing in the Rockies. An artist may even decide to create a paradise, thinking, what about a beautiful, sheltered harbor? Hills that sweep up from broad, clean beaches and gardens with every conceivable flower, fruit, and tree. It would be perfection in nature. But maybe this canvas needs something else, like the touch of the human hand. So the artist gives it beautiful homes, gardens, antique markets, art galleries, bookstores, elegant boutiques, outstanding architecture. And then as a crowning touch, a name, a perfect name. I can't imagine even the most jaded resident of the city becoming bored with Santa Barbara's charms. But visitors, we lucky visitors will find enchantment and variety enough to bring us back to the American Riviera time after time. To prove it, we're going to spend a couple of days exploring. See why Santa Barbara is one of the most treasured vacation destinations in the world. We'll start here, on the white sands of a Santa Barbara beach. These are the only south-facing beaches on the West Coast, which means you'll find sun on the sand all day long. Santa Barbara has California sun 300 days a year, but a glorious climate is the only temperate thing about the place. On a festival day in 1601, 3 Spanish frigates sailed into the channel after weathering a severe storm. The crews named the land for St. Barbara, whose feast was celebrated that same day. And as the tradition continues, Santa Barbara celebrates and celebrates all year round. There are ethnic festivals, including the Irish Fair, French Bastille Day, Oktoberfest, Italian, Scandinavian, Greek, and Thai festivals. To honor its Spanish heritage, Santa Barbara celebrates Old Spanish Days, a world-famous 5-day fiesta featuring parades, rodeos, carnivals, a Spanish marketplace, and events throughout the city. I'm here with Jerry Jackman, Executive Director of the Santa Barbara Trust for Historic Preservation. Jerry, this is a stunning place. Where exactly are we?
We're at the birthplace of Santa Barbara, El Presidio de Santa Barbara, and we're actually in the chapel, which was rebuilt in the 1980s on its original site. The Presidio was the 4th of 4 Spanish forts built in California in the 1780s and is one of the most important sites not only in Santa Barbara but in all of California and in the Southwest.
Jerry, what is the Red Tile Tour?
Well, it's a walking tour that you follow around the city. It's about a 12-block area that you can start at the courthouse, the Presidio, or any number of areas, and it takes you by some of the old adobes. It takes you by the courthouse and Little Town Club, any number of beautiful buildings.
The beauty of Santa Barbara isn't an accident. Aided by a flawless California climate, the processes of nature are cultivated by the human hand. You can enjoy the results year-round. The 65-acre Botanic Gardens has miles of beautiful hiking trails through native California plant life. The Andrea Clark Bird Refuge is a peaceful lagoon surrounded by bike and walking trails. Shoreline Park is on the bluffs overlooking the ocean and beach. Any local will tell you that this is the best place in town for flying a kite. And don't forget the children. Alameda Park features a unique playground designed by kids for kids. Hidden away among the estates is Lotus Land, a private residence whose grounds have been turned into a collection of stunning botanic gardens. I'm here at Santa Barbara Harbor talking with Captain Fred Benko. Captain, you were telling me something about how the harbor works here.
Yes, there's an active charter fleet here in Santa Barbara that runs half-day trips, three-quarter-day trips, all-day fishing trips out to the islands.
What can you see? What type of stuff can you see when you go out there, when you take the trips out?
Oh, they're wonderful. Around the islands themselves, the waters surrounding them are now part of the Channel Islands National Marine Sanctuary. And these sanctuary waters are home to humpback whales, blue whales during the summer.
Wow.
Great fishing there all year round. And then on the islands, at San Miguel, the world's largest pinniped rookery.
Now, what is a pinniped?
Those are the seals in the sea lions.
Oh, pinniped. I should have known that one.
And at San Miguel, there will be sometimes 30,000 animals on one beach at the same time. Elephant seals, California sea lions, harbor seals, fur seals.
And for those with romantic inclinations, what can you offer?
There are several boats here in Santa Barbara Harbor that offer the sunset dinner cruises and cocktail cruises, and they're really nice. This city is especially beautiful from the sea, you know, with the mountains behind it. It has a Mediterranean feel about it, you know.
Right.
And you get off there and watch the sunset and have a few cocktails, listen to some music, do a little dancing.
That's wonderful.
There's some serious hand-holding that goes on those trips.
As you've seen, Santa Barbara has so much to stimulate the senses, it's only natural that artists would congregate here. I'm on the beach with Hank Pitcher, renowned Santa Barbara artist. Hank, that's a lovely painting.
Well, you should have been here about 5 minutes ago. It was very sunny and really terrific, and the fog just rolled in. It'll be rolling out again in a minute, so it's a good time to talk, I guess. But, you know, I've lived here all my life, and one of the things that amazes me is about every week I discover a new spot and a new plant and a new view. It's really a painter's paradise. And one of the things that I'm interested in about Santa Barbara as a painter is that it has its own regional, not provincial art, and people come here from all around the world to see that. You're not going to see what you see everywhere else. It's always changing, you know. I mean, it's a curious thing that some people, when they first come to Santa Barbara, that have first moved here, think that there aren't seasons. And very quickly, you start to realize that every day has its own season.
Santa Barbara even celebrates its commitment to the arts. There are art festivals, a jazz festival, and especially I Madanari, an Italian street painting festival that brings artists from around the world. The city itself has a wealth of attractions. The Santa Barbara Museum of Art is one of the outstanding regional museums in the country. You'll find important works by O'Keeffe, Dufay, and Monet, 20th century European art, classical antiquities, Asian art. Throughout the year, the museum also features a variety of special exhibits. This giant skeleton of a blue whale is at the Santa Barbara Museum of Natural History. The museum has a broad spectrum of exhibits, including a diorama of prehistoric Chumash life and a planetarium. Santa Barbara is home to a host of other museums, including the Karpeles Manuscript Library, the world's largest private holding of original documents and manuscripts. The Historical Museum features exhibits of fine and decorative arts, costumes, and artifacts from the city's Spanish, Mexican, and American periods. The Contemporary Arts Forum is devoted to visual, performing, and media arts. Not all the arts are found in museums or on stages. Santa Barbara also has its devotees of the culinary arts. I'm here with Arthur von Wiesenberger, local food critic. Arthur, tell me something about the food biz here in Santa Barbara.
Well, Santa Barbara has over 400 restaurants, and there's every kind of ethnic restaurant, from Japanese and Chinese to Italian and French and Thai food. I mean, just about satisfies anything in your palate. And the amazing thing is Santa Barbara is inexpensive. You can get food here at about half the price you can in most major cities.
Now, we're standing here at the local farmers market. Do the restaurateurs come here to buy their produce?
Every Tuesday and every Saturday, you're going to see famous restaurateurs and chefs walking around here picking out the best produce, because all this is locally grown. You can't get fresher than you can right here at the farmers market. You can also get crab and fresh mushrooms. Fruit right now is in season, so there's strawberries all over the place, and they're red strawberries like you've never seen before.
Now, we talked about food. Tell me something about wines. Well,
Santa Barbara County has some of the greatest wines you've ever tasted. I mean, these wines are becoming world-class wines, rivaling the French wines and the famous Italian wines. There's really a complete myriad of different types of wines that are just coming out of our own backyard.
The good life in Santa Barbara means more than great restaurants and hotels. You'll find something to celebrate in world-class shopping. The city is a treasure trove for antique lovers. There are dozens of shops where you can browse through fascinating memorabilia and other items from the past. Encompassing 2 blocks along State Street, the magnificent Paseo Nuevo captures the feeling of the traditional Spanish paseo in grand style. This impressive shopping area, bordered by Nordstrom and the Broadway, offers boutiques and specialty stores, restaurants, and an outdoor amphitheater. If you're looking for a truly exclusive shopping experience, head over to Coast Village Road, well known for its sophisticated shops and upscale restaurants. With such a wealth of activities during the daylight hours, you might fear that the evenings would be less exciting. You know, like some distant tropical paradise that goes to bed at night. However, nothing could be further from the truth. Santa Barbara is famous for its nightlife, both imported and homegrown. The heart of the city's nightlife is Old Town. Since going through renovations, Old Town has quickly become a major dining and entertainment district. You can find it all here: movie theaters, dance clubs, live music, and jazz clubs. Santa Barbara has an exciting tradition in the performing arts as well. Anne Francis lives here and is going to tell us what's going on. It seems like everywhere I look, there's a theater. How many theaters are there in Santa Barbara?
In Santa Barbara, we have the Lobero, we have the Granada, we have the Arlington, where we have incredible concerts. At the Granada now, they have all kinds of musicals. There's so much going on here all the time, you can't believe it. All you have to do is pick up the Independent or the Santa Barbara News Press, and there's something going on, 3 or 4 things every day here in town.
I understand Santa Barbara has its own film festival.
That's right. We have a film festival, too. And they have big celebrations and dancing and parties and, you know, all the stuff that goes along with a festival. Last Saturday, I heard one of the most magnificent concerts I have ever heard in my life. It was conducted by Giselle Ben-Dor, and Christophe Boulier, the French violinist, was playing. It was absolutely magnificent.
So artists come in from around the world?
Oh, my gosh, you better believe it. We have people. Well, everybody wants to come to Santa Barbara anyway. You know, it's so beautiful here.
What about something more contemporary, pop concerts?
Okay, we've got the Santa Barbara Bowl. Yeah, I forgot about that. That's great, too. All kinds of people. Yeah, big amphitheater. And lots of people come in to do that. Lots of great people come in. Yeah.
Nature itself seems to celebrate Santa Barbara with a profusion of wildlife. The area is home to 454 species of bird, and thousands of different plants have been imported from around the world and join the native varieties in an explosion of color and texture. I'm here with noted nature writer John McKinney, author of the book Walking Santa Barbara. John, so what do you like about the Santa Barbara backcountry the most?
I like the idea of having a wilderness in my backyard, of starting out a wonderful walk, the bottom of a canyon on the fringes of Santa Barbara or Montecito, and hiking a few miles and being completely lost from the world, poking up on the top of a mountain and looking out and seeing that glorious ocean and the Channel Islands, and looking the other way and seeing a wilderness. And that, to me, makes visiting and living in Santa Barbara a dream.
If you're going to explore Santa Barbara, chances are you'll wind up in the Santa Ynez Valley. The Santa Ynez Valley is famous for horse farms, orchards, and vineyards, and has some of California's most beautiful scenery. Many people don't realize that Santa Barbara has become one of the premier wine-producing regions in California. Winemaker Lane Tanner is with us to talk a little bit about the wines. Lane, something's happened here in the last 10, 15 years. Tell me about it.
Well, you know, I moved here in 1981, and during that time, it was still a very young phase in the wine industry around here. Since then, a lot more vineyards have been planted, and we've started to realize exactly what areas are really good as far as small climates for what grapes.
Now, when people drive over from Santa Barbara, it's about a half-hour drive. Are there places where they can taste the wines?
There's a number of facilities that do have beautiful wine tasting rooms. Quite a few of them also have lunching areas, you know, beautiful lawns and different settings where you can enjoy a picnic if you bring one, or some people do have, you know, small cheeses and whatnot.
I'm with Neil Taylor, Information Officer for the Santa Barbara County Parks, noted naturalist and outdoorsman extraordinaire. Neil, tell me something about Lake Cachuma here.
Lake Cachuma is a really special area. 7.5 miles long, 42 miles of shoreline, a wonderful, wonderful bass fishing area and a great trout fishing lake. The wildlife here is just absolutely incredible, just incredible to see as you move along the shoreline. Everything from coastal mule deer to mountain lion to bobcat, fox, coyote, wild pigs you might see along the edge of the shoreline, and of course the magnificence of the bald eagle. I brag about the fact that I got the greatest job in the world.
I would vouch for that.
You can't beat my office space, can you?
No, and the view. It's great. When you see the windmills, you'll know you're in Solvang. Founded in 1911 by Danish settlers, Solvang captures the old world charm of a village in Denmark. A day of browsing through the unique shops is bound to make you hungry. Make sure you save room for dessert, because Solvang has bakeries and pastry shops everywhere you look. Santa Barbara Outdoors is yours to celebrate all year round. Santa Barbara even celebrates this with Semana Nautica, a week-long sports festival which encompasses air, sea, land, and pool events throughout the city. This sportsman's paradise also has bike paths, tennis courts, polo grounds, lawn bowling, softball fields, and golf. Great golf. There are challenging courses all around Santa Barbara. The Sandpiper features perfectionist golf against the setting of the Pacific Ocean. Rolling hills and ancient oaks surround the course at the Alisal Ranch in Solvang, and a dramatic windswept vista frames La Purisma. Getting to the American Riviera is simplicity itself. Santa Barbara is just 90 miles north of Los Angeles and a few hundred miles south of San Francisco. Several airlines fly directly into Santa Barbara Municipal Airport. Direct daily train service is available to Santa Barbara from up and down the West Coast. Shuttle services are available to all major Southern California airports and attractions, such as Universal Studios, Disneyland, and major sporting events. You can take the train in, fly in, and spend a weekend walking and biking. You don't even need a car. And where do you stay when you arrive? Elegant hotels, country inns, bed and breakfasts, hotels right on the beach, and resorts. Lodgings for every taste and budget. I think you've seen that Santa Barbara is a mixture of the old and the new. A veneration of tradition is reflected in the history and architecture. This coexists with the new, like the summer solstice parade, which may harken back to an older, ancient, more pagan tradition. This blending of old and new comes the closest to defining the spirit of the city. And that's probably the best reason of all to join us in celebrating the American Riviera.